Zermatt is a municipality in the district of Visp in the German-speaking section of the canton of Valais in Switzerland. It has a population of about 5,800 inhabitants. The town lies at the upper end of Mattertal at an elevation of 1,620 m, at the foot of Switzerland's highest peaks. It lies about 10 kilometers from the over 10,800 feet high Theodul Pass bordering Italy. Zermatt is famed as a mountaineering and ski resort of the Swiss Alps. Until the mid-19th century, it was predominantly an agricultural community. The first and tragic ascent of the Matterhorn in 1865 was followed by a rush on the mountains surrounding the village, leading to the construction of many tourist facilities. The year-round population is 5,770, though there may be several times as many tourists in Zermatt at any one time. Much of the local economy is based on tourism, with about half of the jobs in town in hotels or restaurants and just under half of all apartments or vacation apartments. Just over one-third of the permanent population was born in the town, while another third moved to Zermatt from outside Switzerland. Etymology: the name of Zermatt, as well as that of the Matterhorn itself, derives from the alpine meadows, or Matten, in the valley. The name appeared first as Zermatt and became later Zermatt. It does not appear until 1495 on a map or 1546 in a text, but may have been employed long before. Prabono or Prato Bono are the older names of Zermatt. They appear in the ancient maps as early as the 13th century. The French-speaking people from the Ulster Valley and from the French-speaking part of Canton Valais used this name until about 1860 in the form of Praborn, or Praborn. The reason of this change from Prabono to Zermatt is attributed to the gradual replacement of the Romance-speaking people by German-speaking colony. Geography: the town of Zermatt lies at the southern end of the Matter Valley, which is one of the lateral branches of the Great Valley of the Rhone. Zermatt is almost completely surrounded by the high mountains of the Pennine Alps, among which Monte Rosa, Switzerland's highest peak at 4,634 meters above sea level. It is followed by the Dom, Liscum, Weisshorn and the Matterhorn. Most of the Alpine 4000ers are located around Zermatt or in the neighboring valleys. Zermatt is traversed by the main river of the valley, the Matter Visp, which rises at the glaciers at the feet of the highest peaks, the Gorner Glacier on the east side near Monte Rosa and the Zermatt Glacier on the west side between Dent de Copyright Rennes and Dent Blanche. The town of Zermatt, while dense, is geographically small. There are three main streets which run along the banks of the river Matter Visp, and numerous cross streets, especially around the station and the church which forms the center of Zermatt. In general, anything is at most a 30-minute walk away. There are several suburbs within Zermatt. Winkelmatten, which was once a separate hamlet, lies on a hill on the southern side. Steenmatten is located on the eastern bank of the main river. Many hamlets are located in the valleys above Zermatt, however they are not usually inhabited all year round. Zumsee lies south of Zermatt on the west bank of the Gorner Gorge, near Fury, where a cable car station is located. On the side of Zermatt Valley lies the hamlet of Zermatt, north of the Zermatt River. Vendeln is located in the eastern valley above the Feindelbach River. It lies below the Sunnegger station. Located near a train station of the Gorner Gratbahn, Riffelalp is one of the highest hamlets with a chapel. Zermatt has an area, as of 2011, of 242.7 kilometers 2. Of this area, 9.5% is used for agricultural purposes, while 4.2% is forested. Of the rest of the land, 0.7% is settled and 85.6% is unproductive land. Climate. Tourism. The village was discovered by mid-19th century British mountaineers, most notably Edward Whymper, whose conquest of the Matterhorn made the village famous. The Matterhorn was one of the last alpine mountains to be conquered, and the first expedition that reached the top ended dramatically with only 3 of the 7 climbers surviving the descent. The story is related in the Matterhorn Museum. Zermatt is a starting point for hikes into the mountains, including the Haute Route that leads to Chamonix in France and the Patrouille des Glaciers. Cable cars and chair lifts carry skiers in the winter and hikers in the summer. The highest of them leads to the Klein Matterhorn at 3,883 m, a peak on the ridge between Breathorn and Matterhorn that offers spectacular views in all directions. It is possible to cross into Italy via the Cervinia cable car station. A spectacular rack railway line runs up to the summit of the Gornergrat at 3,089 m. Zermatt is also the western terminus for the Glacier Express rail service connecting to St. Moritz and the MGB. Transport. To prevent air pollution, which could obscure the town's view of the Matterhorn, the entire town is a combustion engine car-free zone. Almost all vehicles in Zermatt are battery-driven and almost completely silent. Electric vehicles are allowed for local commerces. The cantonal police can issue a permit which allows residents to drive and park at the northern outskirts. Some emergency and municipal vehicles are also allowed to use combustion engines. Passenger vehicles operating within Zermatt include tiny electric shuttles provided by hotels to carry visitors from the main train station to the hotel properties, electro-taxis operated by 4 major Zermatt families, and electrobuses, which serve 2 routes, one between the major hotel areas and the stations of the various ski lifts, and the other following a similar route but also serving the more rural suburb of Winkelmatten. Horse-drawn carriages can also be found. Some are operated by hotels and others are available for hire. Most visitors reach Zermatt by cog railway train from the nearby town of Currency SCH. Trains also depart for Zermatt from farther down the valley at Visp and Brig, which are on the main Swiss rail network. The town also has a heliport and a local helicopter operator, Air Zermatt, which also provides alpine rescue services. In 2007, a project group was formed to evaluate options for development of the local transportation network. The results of this study are published in the December 2007 edition of Zermatt Inside. The 6 options explored are a coaster, a funicular, a metro, moving sidewalks, a gondola and more electrobuses. Skiing in Zermatt. Zermatt is known throughout the world for its skiing, especially Trifji for its moguls. The high altitude results in consistent skiing continuously throughout the summer. Skiing in Zermatt is split up into 4 areas: Sonnegge, Gornergrat, Klein Matterhorn and Schwarzsee. There is also a connection to Cervinia and Valais in Italy through the Plateau Rosa Glacier. In 2008, Zermatt hosted an infinity downhill race. The race took place on 13th and 14th December and comprised a course descending from the Matterhorn Glacier Paradise, and finished in Zermatt itself. The course was 20 kilometers long and featured a 2,200 meters descent. Sonnegge. The Sonnegge Paradise is accessed via the Sonnegge Express funicular railway, followed by a gondola to Blorød and finally a cable car onwards to the Rothorn above. The topography of the mountain and the valley tends to keep the Rothorn clear and sunny, even when Zermatt is submerged in cloud. From Blorød there is a gondola down to Gant, and from there a connecting cable car goes to Currency. This cable car and the newer 4-seat chairlift Sonnegge van Delmbreitboden provide connections between Sonnegge and Gornergrat. With few steep slopes, this mountain is often used to train younger skiers. Gornergrat. The Gornergrat is served by the Gornergrat Railway, a 29-minute ride to the Gornergrat Peak, via Riffelalp, Rottenboden and Riffelberg. At the summit, the hotel and restaurant have been refurbished and accommodate a shopping centre. Riffelalp station is linked to Riffelalp Resort by a short tramway line named Riffelalptram. A cable car heads up from Currency to the Rottnæs. This final lift serves a free-ride area but can be unreliable as this mountain site requires good snow cover to be skiable. The lifts in this area generally open for the season in late February or early March. Cable car is now permanently closed, with no replacement lift planned. A new slope leading back from Currency to Kellensee just under the Gornergrat replaced this lift to maintain the link from the Rothorn to Gornergrat. Klein Matterhorn/Schwarzsee. Near the southern end of Zermatt, the Matterhorn Express gondola transports passengers up to the interchange station at Fury. From here there is access to Schwarzsee via a gondola to the right, a cable car that leads onto the Trockenesteg station. and a new gondola, opened on December 18, 2006, links Fury to Riffelberg on the Gornergrat mountain. This lift addresses one of the most persistent criticisms of Zermatt, that it is very difficult to ski the two sides of the valley without a tiresome trek through Zermatt between the Gornergratbahn and the Matterhorn Express at opposite ends of the town. Testa Grigia at the top of the Theodul Pass serves as a connection to the Italian ski resorts of Sardinia and Valtunange. From the Swiss side it is only reachable by ski lift, but from the Italian side by a chairlift and by a cable car. There are customs offices here as well as a small alpine museum. Zermatt is marketed as an all-year skiing resort, with summer skiing limited to the Theodul Glacier behind the Klein Matterhorn. While strictly true, during the off-season in May and June there will only tend to be one or two runs open, and the main glacier area does not open until July. In operation since October 25, 2003, the Visp 6-seater chairlift has 12 masts that stand directly on the glacial ice of the Theodul Glacier, a first for Switzerland. It is one of very few lifts worldwide with bottom and top station in different countries, respectively Switzerland and Italy. History of the lift system 1898 start of summer operation of Gornergratbahn, 1928 Gornergratbahn introduces a twice-daily winter sports service to Riffelalp. 1939 development of Theodul area from Bruil Sardinia to Testa Grigia. 1942 Zermatt Sunnegger ski lift. 1946 Wisty Trainer ski lift. Zermatt Sunnegger sideways facing chairlift. 1947 Sunnegger Blauerd ski lift. 1955 Cableway Plan Maison Ferghorn. 1956 Suspension lift Gornergrat Hote Currency Ski lift Riffelberg. Ski lift Fury. Chairlift Vendeln Sunnegger, 1957 Suspension lift Zermatt Fury, 1958 Suspension lift Hote Currency Stockholm. Fury Schwarzsee Suspension lift. 1960 Ski lift Garten. 1962 Suspension lift Ferg Schwarzsee, 1963 Ski lift Hornli. 1964 Suspension lift Fury Ferg. Theodul lift. Ski lift Trift G Roadnace, 1965 Ferg Trockenesteg Suspension lift. Ski lift National. 1967 Cable car lift Sunnegger Blauerd. Suspension lift Blauerd Rothorn. Ski lift Fergsattel. Ski lift Eichfleur. Pass lift. 1968 Platform ski lift Cum. Ski lift Gandeg, 1971 Cable car Gand Blauerd. Ski lift Gand Platt. Ski lift Riffelberg Githitli. Ski lift Test Grigia 1. 1979 Suspension lift Trockenesteg Klein Matterhorn, 1980 Funicular Zermatt Sunnegger. Ski lift Testa Grigia 2. Border ski lift. Ski lift Plata Rosa 1. 1982 Suspension lift Fury Trockenesteg. Cable car Zermatt Fury. Chairlift Cum Rothorn, 1984 Joint ski pass in Zermatt, 1986 Suspension lift Hote Currency Roadnace, 1989 Chairlift Patrelav Blauerd. 1991 Chairlift Ferg Sandiger Bodden Theodul Glacier. Ski lift Plata Rosa 2. Group turnaround lift Ferg Schwarzsee. 1995 Joint ski pass Zermatt Sardinia. 1996 Suspension lift Blauerd Rothorn, 1998 Suspension lift Gant Hote Currency 1999 Electronic ticketing system introduced. 2001 Chairlift Eichfleur Sunnegger. 2002 Merger of Zermatt Bergbahnen. Cable car lifts Matterhorn Express, 2003 Chairlift Fergsattel Gletscherbahn. Chairlift Githitli, 2005 Combi Systems Sunnegger Blauerd. Passenger lift Funicular Ridweg, 2006 Suspension lift Fury Schwiegmatten Riffelberg, 2007 End of operations of the Gornergrat, Hote Currency tram, replaced by a red slope Hote Currency Kelenzi. 2007 End of operations of the Hote Currency Stockholm tram, replaced by a surface lift in 2008. 2007 Clearing of the skitunnel at Riffelberg, increasing the capacity of this slope. 2007 4-seat chairlift Sunnegger Vendeln Breitboden. Developments equals. The Zermatt Bergbahnen's website mentions a few projects for the following years: 2010 chairlift at Garten, replacing an old surface lift. 2011 cable car test at Grigia Klein Matterhorn. As well as several changes to the slopes, and the placement of new snow-making installations. Coat of Arms. The blazon of the municipal coat of arms is gules a lion rampant or lanked of the first on coupe overt between two mullets of 5 argent in chief. Demographics. Zermatt has a population of 5,770. As of 2008, 35.9% of the population are resident foreign nationals. Over the last 10 years the population has changed at a rate of 6.4%. It has changed at a rate of -3.2% due to migration and at a rate of 7.1% due to births and deaths. Most of the population speaks German as their first language, Portuguese is the second most common and Italian is the third. There are 226 people who speak French and 1 person who speaks Romansh. As of 2008, the population was 51.6% male and 48.4% female. The population was made up of 1,840 Swiss men and 1,166 non-Swiss men. There were 1,837 Swiss women and 985 non-Swiss women. Of the population in the municipality, 2,214 or about 37.0% were born in Zermatt and lived there in 2000. There were 720 or 12.0% who were born in the same canton, while 774 or 12.9% were born somewhere else in Switzerland, and 2,039 or 34.1% were born outside of Switzerland. As of 2000, children and teenagers make up 21.3% of the population, while adults make up 70.2% and seniors make up 8.5%. As of 2000, there were 2,763 people who were single and never married in the municipality. There were 2,830 married individuals, 207 widows or widowers and 188 individuals who are divorced. As of 2000, there were 2,441 private households in the municipality, and an average of 2.2 persons per household. There were 921 households that consist of only 1 person and 128 households with 5 or more people. In 2000, a total of 2,167 apartments were permanently occupied, while 1,890 apartments were seasonally occupied and 103 apartments were empty. As of 2009, the construction rate of new housing units was 14.1 new units per 1,000 residents. The historical population is given in the following chart. Heritage sites of national significance. The petroglyphs and prehistoric grinding stone at Huber were currency NG is listed as a Swiss heritage site of national significance. Politics. In the 2007 federal election the most popular party was the CVP which received 68.98% of the vote. The next 3 most popular parties were the SVP, the SP and the FDP. In the federal election, a total of 1,326 votes were cast, and the voter turnout was 46.0%. In the 2009 concealed Etat election a total of 1,009 votes were cast, of which 66 or about 6.5% were invalid. The voter participation was 34.4%, which is much less than the cantonal average of 54.67%. In the 2007 Swiss Council of States election a total of 1,289 votes were cast, of which 105 or about 8.1% were invalid. The voter participation was 45.4%, which is much less than the cantonal average of 59.88%. Economy. About half of the jobs in Zermatt are in the hotel and restaurant industry. As of 2010, Zermatt had an unemployment rate of 1.9%. As of 2008, there were 52 people employed in the primary economic sector and about 23 businesses involved in this sector. 567 people were employed in the secondary sector and there were 56 businesses in this sector. 3,957 people were employed in the tertiary sector, with 433 businesses in this sector. There were 3,841 residents of the municipality who were employed in some capacity, of which females made up 44.6% of the workforce. In 2008 the total number of full-time equivalent jobs was 4,261. The number of jobs in the primary sector was 20, all of which were in agriculture. The number of jobs in the secondary sector was 538, of which 83 were in manufacturing and 385 were in construction. The number of jobs in the tertiary sector was 3,703. In the tertiary sector, 531 or 14.3% were in wholesale or retail sales or the repair of motor vehicles, 477 or 12.9% were in the movement and storage of goods, 2,178 or 58.8% were in a hotel or restaurant, 38 or 1.0% were in the information industry, 54 or 1.5% were the insurance or financial industry, 116 or 3.1% were technical professionals or scientists. 56 or 1.5% were in education and 87 or 2.3% were in healthcare. In 2000, there were 744 workers who commuted into the municipality and 89 workers who commuted away. The municipality is a net importer of workers, with about 8.4 workers entering the municipality for every one leaving. Of the working population, 7.1% used public transportation to get to work, and 2.6% used a private car. Religion. From the 2000 census, 4,458 or 74.4% were Roman Catholic, while 458 or 7.6% belonged to the Swiss Reformed Church. Of the rest of the population, there were 131 members of an Orthodox Church, there were 2 individuals who belonged to the Christian Catholic Church, and there were 59 individuals who belonged to another Christian church. There were 4 individuals who were Jewish, and 82 who were Muslim. There were 6 individuals who were Buddhist and 4 individuals who belonged to another church. 205 belonged to no church, are agnostics or atheists, and 602 individuals did not answer the question. Education. In Zermatt about 1,988 or of the population have completed non-mandatory upper secondary education, and 470 or have completed additional higher education. Of the 470 who completed tertiary schooling, 51.1% were Swiss men, 21.1% were Swiss women, 14.0% were non-Swiss men and 13.8% were non-Swiss women. During the 2010 to 2011 school year there were a total of 677 students in the Zermatt school system. The education system in the canton of Valais allows young children to attend 1 year of non-obligatory kindergarten. During that school year, there are 6 kindergarten classes and 106 kindergarten students. The canton school system requires students to attend 6 years of primary school. In Zermatt there were a total of 24 classes and 458 students in the primary school. The secondary school program consists of 3 lower, obligatory years of schooling, followed by 3 to 5 years of optional, advanced schools. There were 219 lower secondary students who attended school in Zermatt. All the upper secondary students attended school in another municipality. As of 2000, there were 98 students in Zermatt who came from another municipality, while 23 residents attended schools outside the municipality. See also, Matterhorn Museum, list of ski areas and resorts in Switzerland, Swiss Alps. References, Sisterpo Maps. External links, Zermatt CH official website, Zermatt website, Municipality of Zermatt, Berggemeinde Zermatt, Webcams in Zermatt, Photo gallery, images from Zermatt, live webcam Zermatt.